Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Let me ask you something. Have you ever dealt with someone who constantly needs admiration, cannot handle criticism, and somehow turns every situation back to themselves? And you walk away feeling drained, confused, maybe even questioning your own reactions. From a Western psychology perspective, this falls under narcissistic traits. And at the clinical level, it is called narcissistic personality disorder. Researchers like W. Keith Campbell explains that it involves grandiosity, entitlement, and low empathy. But here is the key insight, because beneath that confident exterior is often a fragile self. That is why even small criticism feels threatening. So the question arises, and how do you deal with it? Psychologically, the approach is very clear. You are required to set boundaries, remain calm, firm, and consistent. And you are not supposed to try to fix them, because you have understood that change only happens with self awareness. And you are required to protect your mental health, because constant emotional manipulation can slowly wear you down. Now, just let's try to understand this from Islamic psychology perspective and notice that how it furthers deepens the topic. The Quran strongly warns us against arrogance. In Surah Al-Luqman, verse number 18, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تُسَعِّرْ صَدَّقَ لِلنَّاسِ وَلَا تَمْشِ فِي الْأَرْضِ مَرَحًا إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ كُلَّ مُخْتَالٍ فَخُورٍ. And do not turn your nose up to people, nor walk pridefully upon the earth. Surely, Allah does not like whoever is arrogant, boastful. And there is another example, a very clear one, the example of Iblis. When he was commanded to bow to Adam alayhi salam, what did he say? Ana khayrum min. I am better than him. And that sense of superiority is the spiritual root of narcissism. Now, let's just try to look at from the another perspective. That is in the light of the seerah of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. When Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam entered Makkah as a leader, he entered with his head lowered in humility. No pride, no glorification. And when a man approached him in fear, he reassured him with gentleness, reminding him that he was simply human. That is emotional intelligence with humility. But here is something very important. Islam does not teach us to tolerate harm. It teaches hikmah, the wisdom in how we respond to such kind of a people. It teaches adl, meaning that we are not allowed to tolerate oppression even against ourselves. And it teaches protection of self, that our emotional and psychological well-being matters. So you can walk away, you can set boundaries, you can protect your peace, and you can still remain grounded, dignified, and principled. Now pause for a moment, because this is where it becomes deeper. When we recognize narcissistic traits in others and we willingly try to look into others' faults, so are we willing to look within ourselves? When someone corrects us, do we become defensive? Do we seek validation more than sincerity? Do we ever feel, even quietly, that we are better than others? If Iblis fell because of a single moment of arrogance, then what about the subtle traces we ignore within ourselves? So maybe the real question is not just how do I deal with a narcissist, but honestly, the question should be, is there anything in me that needs to be softened down, humbled, and healed? Jazakallahu khairan kaseera.